Hey, folks, welcome back to The Pulse. My name is Crypto Heartbeat, and we are in the Texas Capitol right now. Can you believe it? Look at this. The seal, great seal behind me, the flag. Folks, I had no idea. I was like, I'm going to come to Austin, and I'm going to stream for the legislative day, and I'm going to be here. And I thought, you know what? Maybe nothing will happen. Well, as soon as I get here, something has happened. And folks, we get to start off the stream with a massive announcement. So, folks, the guy who's done this since 1996, really probably officially since 2005, but the president, the CEO, the King Kamehameha of the Texas Nationalist Movement, Daniel Miller. Come on, buddy.
Let's do it.
Let's do it. This is huge. Congratulations, by the way, to you.
Hey, thank you.
Wow.
Okay.
Well,
Well, we're sharing a mic.
Yeah, this is the camera. This is all. I know. Unfortunately, we're not too high tech. So, Daniel, you're pretty happy right now. You just made an announcement. I'd love for you to share with our group here too.
Yeah. So here's the phenomenal news. The Texas Independence Referendum Act has officially been filed by State Representative Brian Slayton as of this morning. It's House Bill 3596. And now, the starter pistol has fired and it's time for the work to begin.
Wow. 3596 is the bill. And this is Representative Slayton?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
What should people that are in Texas do like immediately? Because I know you want them to get out there. This is big.
Yeah, really two things. Number one is you need to call your state representative and state senator. I mean, beyond a shadow of a doubt, they need to hear from you. And now that the bill has been filed, and there is a bill number, you've got a specific piece of legislation that you can now direct your folks to, right? Your state rep, state legislator. Tell them you want them to sign on as co-authors. Make sure that we've got a ton of names on that bill, but they need the phone spun up. You need to visit their offices. You need to email. You need to send letters. You need to do everything you can to get them on this bill.
Wow. So, okay, you walked in here, you made this announcement. How did this all come together? Like, how is the sausage made? Like, did this literally just happen?
Well, I mean, nothing ever literally.
But the decision or filing of it?
No. So, we had been in discussion with Representative Slayton since before the session started.
Okay.
And essentially what happened was we had our final meeting on March 2nd, Texas Independence Day.
Okay.
We got some of the last minute details hammered out. And once we did that, today was the day, which is the anniversary of the fall of the Alamo. So it's a very, very sacred day for us.
Wow.
So game on.
Game on. Wow. Well, thank you very much for this just happened. You walked in the room, announced it to the TNM folks, and I said, hey, come on over here. So I don't want to pull you away from anything exciting, but congratulations.
Thanks,
This
Matt.
is big, man.
No, thank
this
you.
This is so big.
You're a part of this.
Yeah.
I mean, you help make it happen. And everyone out there who supports what we're doing with not just the TEXIT issue, but everything the TNM is doing, you had a part to play in this as well. But your role's not over. Right. It's not over until you win. And so we just keep fighting for every bit of yardage until we cross that goal
But
line.
this is big. I mean, you said this.
Yeah.
This is huge. And folks, this just happened. Literally started the stream. I actually started it early because you had this announcement.
Well, look, Matt, I mean, look, not to monopolize, but I just want to put this in context, right? So people said that we would never get anyone, that this would never cross a threshold, right, of above 50%. We did that. They said we would never get it as the official position of the dominant political party in Texas.
Yep.
We did that. They never said we would get, we would never get the legislation filed. We did that last session.
Yep.
They said no one would ever sign onto that legislation last session. We walked out with 6 co-authors. They told us that we would not get that bill filed this session. And you know what? They can put that in their pipe and smoke it. How you like them apples?
That's right. How you like them apples?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, my goodness. Well, thank you, Daniel. Congratulations.
Thanks,
this is fantastic. You bet. Thank you.
Thank you.
Folks, we got all kinds of guests coming in today on the Pulse. And, for those of you in the community, you're going to love seeing, this is really, we're reunited again. And it's a neat story because in the chat, you guys always see Sam Kemp, right? And I'm always make a point to talk about Sam Kemp. He's the guy who came to our TEXIT event. It was the TEXIT event in Dallas. Come on in, Sam. This is the man, the myth, the legend, Sam Kemp. What's up, buddy?
Good morning, afternoon,
Yes.
whatever it is.
How are you? How about
so
that news?
excited
I know. I'm like freaking out. It's so
Yes,
awesome.
sir.
So, folks, this is Sam Kemp. Sam, I met you in in Dallas
Yep.
for the Dallas event.
Yep.
And it was awesome because you brought some friends, and I've told your story on the Pulse before. Do you mind sharing, like, you heard about crypto, you heard about the TEXIT token and stuff, and then next thing you know, you're bringing all your friends.
Yeah, actually, I was at a TNM meeting when I heard about it.
Okay.
The announcement.
Okay.
And I knew absolutely nothing about crypto.
Yeah.
And I'm not far from that now. But
You're reading everything, though.
Yeah, everything I can get my hands on. Yeah. But I just saw it as an opportunity to leave a great legacy for my family.
Wow.
So that was my purpose in pursuing it, and it still is. So
wow,
got 7 great grandchildren, and they all got stakes for 22 years.
Are you serious?
I'm serious.
7 great grand?
Yes, sir.
Oh my goodness, that's fantastic. That's a legacy in and of itself. I mean, that's amazing. So what brings you here today in the Capitol building in Austin?
Daniel said I had to be here. So.
Yep. And then you're
and I don't mind getting bumped for him.
Yeah. Seriously, with that kind of announcement, we did not expect this, folks. Just so you know, we did not expect to have the announcement of the bill filed. I just thought, I'm just going to start the stream and we'll talk to some folks. But to have Daniel come in and to start our stream, so folks, if you missed it, the bill has officially been filed, and there's a bill number, and this is big news. I mean, people are here like super excited. We were hoping that we'd hear something today, but to have it right at the beginning of the stream is huge. So Sam, you brought some friends. Will you talk about the folks that you brought to that original TEXIT TNM meetup? Because there are some neat folks.
Yeah, there was a couple by the name of David and Michelle Archer, who were friends of mine. Been friends of mine for matter of fact, I was friends with her parents for years when she was a teenager.
Okay.
So I just I had told them, I sat down with them and I explained what I had learned so far, and I said, you guys need to come meet this guy. I said, I think there's something here. And the best part of the story is that I told them about a friend of mine in Florida.
Yes.
I had a friend in Florida who had dabbled in crypto. And before I moved back from Florida back to Texas, he had been trying to get me to check out crypto. And I wasn't interested, didn't have any interest in it. And so when I got the word about the TEXIT token, I called him on the phone. I said, what do you think about this? He said, well, I've never heard of that before. He said, it's obviously something new. He said, but all I can tell you is if there's a guy by the name of Crypto Heartbeat that's got anything to do with it, you can go with it.
Oh, that's
so I told them that story, and then they related that story to you when you met them. So
and I've since interacted with them. It's just so fantastic. We had a great conversation. We got a chance to talk, which is fantastic. I appreciate it.
And they have some pretty good sized stakes as well, them and their family. And then I brought a young man also by the name of Aaron.
Yep.
Aaron is
he was
21, I think.
21.
Yeah, and just a young fellow I met there in Greenville. And we had established a relationship, and I mentioned to him, and he came along, and he and his fiance got a substantial stake as well. Wow. And then there was another fellow there that I think you got to meet him because I think I got a picture with you. I know I do have a picture of him and Brandon. Guy by the name of Bill. Bill was there. I have not talked to Bill since that night, so I'm not sure what he did with everything. And then my sister and her husband were scheduled to come, but they had a previous commitment, so they couldn't come that night. But they're excited. They got some great stakes. So
wow, it's amazing, folks. If you're wondering how adoption works, this is it right here. So in my opinion, if you think about, people talk about no coiners and, people are like, well, how do we get folks to come into crypto? And I think we have to align our incentives, right? You're somebody that believes in Texas independence. You want to actively do things that are helping support that. Will you talk about when you have grandkids? Or great grandkids. I don't even have grandkids yet, right? When you've got great grandkids and you're thinking about legacy and Texas independence, how important is this and to you, and what does it mean to you that Texas could be independent again? Like, why do you do it?
The only thing that's faster than the fastest gun in the West is a grandparent breaking out pictures.
That's right.
Okay, so just bear with me a second.
No, that's good.
I got to get this picture out here and show it to you so that you'll understand what it all means.
What year were you born?
1940. Oh, I'm glad you brought it up. 1945. I am not a boomer.
You're not.
Okay, you make that matter of record.
So you're officially part of the greatest?
I'm a war baby.
War baby. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're
So
right.
just-
Right. You're right.
Yeah,
Prior
just
to
want to clarify
1946.
that. Yeah,
Not a boomer, folks.
because boomers, they got a bad rap, and I
They
don't want to
do.
be part of them.
Well, you're not a hippie, right?
No,
You're before all that.
no. Listen. I went. My mother gave me a choice. She said, "You can go to school or you can go to boot camp."
Yeah.
The day after I turned 17, I was on an airplane for San Diego.
Yeah.
So I grew up in the Navy.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah.
That's why you and Rags get along so
Yeah,
well.
exactly right.
That is fantastic. Hey, Rags, I sent you a link if you want to join us and say hello to Sam Kemp here in the Texas Capitol while he pulls out the pictures of the grandkids and the great grandkids. But yeah, so this is why you're doing this, isn't it?
This is exactly why I'm doing this.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Folks, big news. Daniel, at the beginning of the stream, if you're going to catch up on this, you want to rewind, you can see Daniel Miller, first guest on the Pulse today, which we did not expect to happen. He announced that the bill has been filed and it does have a bill number. This is amazing. All right, so show us what you got here.
There it is right there.
Oh my goodness. I'm not going to dox anybody, but he's got a huge, wow. This is, folks, you think about your life and I think about my own, what are you building? So when you're a younger man, so let's say get out of the service and I would assume you're having kids, right? Evidence here. What did you want to build? What was your vision for your family legacy? Was it something that kind of just happened, or did you intentionally do that? What's important
No,
to you?
it didn't just happen.
Right.
The story is too long. Okay, but
Yeah, sure.
but let me just say this. Okay, last September 30th, I celebrated 42 years sobriety.
Oh my goodness.
But all the time before that is a fog. So,
Sure.
so when I was a young man that you were mentioning,
Yeah.
I can't
You weren't
tell
thinking
No,
about
I
it?
wasn't thinking. I was thinking about me.
Yeah,
That's it.
Yeah, a lot of us are.
Yeah. And actually, I married a woman with 2 kids.
Okay.
2 boys. They were 7 and 9 when we got married.
Okay.
And then so I adopted them, and we raised them. And then they had 3 daughters, and we helped raise 2 of them. And,
Wow.
and then now we got 7 great grandkids. Yeah. So
That's fantastic. Well,
and it's just, the scripture says that a good man will leave an inheritance for his children's children.
Yeah.
And that's weighed heavy on me. So
Wow.
that's the reason I did.
well,
what I
that's
did.
big. Wow. So I guess they can teach an old dog new tricks.
Yeah, if the old dog wants to learn, they can.
Sam Kemp has learned some new tricks, folks, and he's sharing it like crazy. I mean, the folks that you've brought in and shared with about not only the Texan token, but to me, this is a really neat moment. I'm kind of like shocked by it because Daniel comes in here, shares this information.
Yeah,
Here I'm
it's
sitting
awesome.
with you. I mean, we're literally in front of the great seal of the state of Texas.
Exactly.
We're sitting up in front of this, room where normally, representatives would sit in a committee meeting or something. And, I can't help but think that there is divine intervention in the timing of all of this.
No doubt in my mind.
Yeah. What are your sense of that?
And that brings us to a story I want you to tell.
Okay.
Did my stuff get set in the seat? I had it sitting up there, and I'm not sure what happened to it. A red notebook in a brown box.
All right. He'll grab it.
Here it comes right there.
Okay, cool. So what do you want me to tell?
I want you to tell the story of the coins.
Okay.
Okay. That's what I want you to tell.
All right.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Danny, thank you. Danny's going to be on as a guest as well. Danny's here, the singer himself.
Danny the singer.
That's right. So I told this story on a stream, and it's really a personal one because I've been pretty transparent in the past about how we got to this point. And I would just say, there are times in life I came to know the Lord at 28 years old, and I was, an adult at that time. And I looked at, religion and Christianity and all that stuff as if it was a bunch of phony baloney. And it wasn't until I was at the end of myself, like literally the end of myself, where I was like, all right, I could either put a gun in my mouth or I could surrender myself. And that's where God met me and lifted weight off my back. Well, since then, so that was September 10th of 2000. God has winked at me like over and over and over and over again. So we, and of course you have these moments in life where something ends and something new begins.
Yeah.
And I feel like when you let go of certain things, you receive new things. And that's exactly what had happened to me. But we had moved into this house. It was built in 1885.
That's the year my
And-
grandmother was born.
Is that right?
Yeah.
1885. And what's amazing about it is I was going to have my parents come and live in the bottom of the house, and I was going to office in the top. And of course, my dad passed, and it was, changed everything.
Yeah.
And so Ray, who's here right now, ZZ Tesco, he and I office in this old house. And it was weird because he had gotten COVID really bad, and literally thought he was going to have to go on a ventilator. It was bad. And he made it through that right when we had moved there. And that's when I started Crypto Heartbeat.
Yeah.
And so I had set up my stuff, and, I've had many different studios at that house, but, Ray had just been saying, "Hey, I'm made it through," and I'm in my studio there, and we're debating. I had this relationship with the folks at the DNM, and we had the relationships with a group that was in global health, because there's kind of conflicting things that were happening, and I didn't know what to do. And my brother-in-law said to me, he says, "You know what? You really need to pray for direction." I'm like, "You're right. That's exactly what I need to do." Because I didn't know, are we going to, do we want to go after helping the Texas nationalist movement, or do we want to get into this global health thing? And both were really good, but I knew that we could only do one of them. And so I sat there at my desk and I prayed. And strangely, not audibly, but I just felt the Lord say, "I've hidden something for you in the house." And I'm like, okay, that's really weird. And I had just put up paneling behind my seat where I was doing my studio. And I'm like, "I'm not taking the paneling down." And he said, "It's behind you." And I'm like, "You got to be kidding me." And so I think about this. I'm like, well, that's just me kind of being hopeful and, wanting to find treasures and all of these things. And so I go into the other room and find to get a pen. And I'm walking back, and like the Lord prompts me with, "Hold on, there is a closet right behind the desk." And I'm like, "Well, I've looked through these closets. I mean, it's a house built in 1885. You're like, this is cool. There's a fireplace in every room." So I open up this closet, and there's nothing in it. And I knew there was nothing in it. Well, I reached up to the top, very, very top of the shelf up top. And in the back corner of that was a medicine bottle. And I couldn't believe it. And I pull this medicine bottle, and it's got coins in it. I turn it and I hear them. Well, I look at the bottle, and it's from 2001. And of course, that's when I first started my business and all this stuff. But I looked at it, and it was for the generic Xanax. And I'm like, "Oh, I know what this stuff is." But there's coins in it. And so Ray comes into the office. I go downstairs. I'm freaking out. I'm like, the Lord told me there was something hidden in the house, and there is something hidden in the house. And I'm trying to understand which direction we're to go. And you know what's inside of that thing? Our state quarters. And what I was praying for was, should we do something in which Texas has its own token, right? And I'm like, I'm actually praying for direction. And he's like, "I'm going to give you these, but here's the big message." And I've processed this since that time. And that is, man creates Xanax as a covering for his anxiety. And there are man-made things that are wrapping around this money. And we think that money is going to be this anesthetizer, this thing that is going to calm us. And in reality, it is just a man-made pill, if you will. Yeah. But he said, "I'm using this," right? And so these state quarters and this idea. And so literally there were, Ray, how many quarters were there? 34 quarters. And it was just like, I was beside myself with this, like, really, I've never had this experience where something was so literal. Yeah. And what's funny is you asked me, you said, "Hey, are there any Texas quarters in there?" I said, well, when they were doing it, Texas hadn't done their quarter yet.
That's right.
And so all of these quarters that were in there, somebody had been collecting them. And that's really what happened, is that when around 2000, they started making state quarters, and, people and kids would collect those, and they just happened to put them in this medicine bottle. Little did it know it was going to be this like spiritual thing for me. And so that's the story. And it's one of 100 different miraculous stories that I've seen where God winks at you and says, "Hey, keep going, keep doing what you're doing." You know what I mean? So I appreciate you letting me share that.
There were some other things he was doing behind the scenes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
When I first told you about this, I mentioned to you that I thought my wife bought these quarters for me because we were living in Florida.
Okay.
And I was missing home like a kid does when he leaves Texas.
Yep.
And so the first thing I did was, when you told that story, it got me.
Yeah.
I said, and I'm telling, sure as we're sitting here, the Lord was telling me, "Give him your Texas quarters." So I went and asked Betty. I said, "Would you mind if I did this?" And I told her your story, and she said, "No, I don't care." Well, I
That's
thought
how my wife would be too.
she could be a little bit more, into it.
Yeah.
Well, I found out why, but I didn't find out till last week.
Okay.
I went in and showed this box to my sister.
Okay.
And she said, "But it didn't give you those quarters."
Huh.
She said, "Our sister Leora, who just passed away a few years ago, she said she gave us those quarters. She gave all of us a set of them."
No way.
And she said, "You go ahead and give those to Matt."
Oh, wow.
She said, "Because I got another set for you that I found in her house after she passed away."
Oh, my goodness. How amazing.
So
is that?
these are for you.
Oh,
Okay. Crypto Heart.
oh yeah. Let's show folks. So he brought this with him that has the Crypto Heartbeat, even the logo on it, folks. So let me open this up for folks here. Oh my goodness. Look at this, folks. Look at this. Great state of Texas. So these are the state quarters in mint condition.
Yes, sir.
Oh my goodness, dude. The Denver mint and the Philadelphia mint,
Yep.
the Texas. And how neat is this? Look, this is and folks, if you wonder, this is how God works. And is a reminder of us being in community, saying to each other, keep going,
Yeah,
right?
that's
Encouraging us to keep going. So tell me more about this. So you show her this. She's like, it's almost like, and here's the thing that strikes me right now, and I just want to tell you this. We hold on so tightly to things, right? And we're like, oh, whose are these? These are mine. And what's amazing is you decided, you're like, hey, I'm going to give these to Crypto Heartbeat. This is going to be a meaningful thing.
And I knew at that point they weren't mine anymore.
Right.
Yes.
But then what's amazing is, no, there's provision, a double portion, if you will. And to me, you have to understand this idea of letting go is such a theme, but to say, hold on, no. And it reminds me of the story of where Jesus was, somebody asked him, hey, does your master pay the temple tax? And he's like, well, I'll ask him. And so they asked Jesus, hey, you pay? And he goes, go grab a fish. Yeah. And there's a 4 drachma coin in the mouth of a fish. 2 for you and 2 for me. 2 for you and 2 for me. Yep. And that's what this is, folks. This is 2 for you and 2 for me. Sam Camp, thank you so much, dude.
Thank you.
It is so meaningful. How cool is that? Now I don't have any Texas state quarters in that, and these are going to go right into that.
Cool.
It's just such a blessing. I really appreciate it a ton, man.
We appreciate you.
This is special. Special. All right.
Thank you, sir.
Folks, can you believe it? Sam Camp in the house, in the chat, literally in the capital, the state capital of Texas. Thank you, sir.
Yes, sir.
Thank you. What a blessing. What an amazing blessing. Man, how about them apples? We got like everything coming our way, folks. So if you missed it, at the opening of this, we had Daniel, the president, CEO, the King Kamehameha of the Texas Nationalist Movement, share the big news that we actually have a bill that's been filed. And so, folks, if you're in Texas, this is it. We actually have a number of the bill. So the bill number, and I think Hex Monkey can remind me which bill number it is. I want to say 3596 is my guess, which is incredible. And so what you'll want to do is that's going to be up on the Texas legislature site, and we'll be able to point to that and encourage representatives to give the people of Texas the right to vote. Right. This is allowing them to have a voice. A recent poll said 66% of likely voters in Texas would support Texas independence. 66%. That's 2/3, folks. And it needs 50% plus 1. And so what's incredible about this is we now have a bill, and now we need to get other folks to sign on to that bill, because we need to show folks this is the will of the people, and giving the people an opportunity to vote is the absolute key to all this stuff. But I want to get Nate Smith, if he is willing to come over. So Nate Smith, if you guys don't know, he is in the house as well. We've got Danny the singer, and we've got some amazing guests lined up as well. But we're just going to keep rolling with this, folks. But Nate Smith, come on in, buddy. Nate Smith is the executive director of the Texas Nationalist Movement. All right. I have not talked to you since Daniel made this announcement. We've been talking a lot. You and I have been. What's your first reaction to this?
Oh, this is incredible. So excited to have the bill filed.
Okay.
So.
Wow.
Man, I mean,
can you believe it? I know that you're concerned.
Number.
Yeah, we got a number.
I'll be honest. There's definitely some. It never happens until it happens.
Right.
So you try not to get your hopes up.
Right.
But there's been a lot of folks working really hard behind the scenes.
Yep.
I know we have a lot of supporters that are asking us, like, why aren't we doing more visible things
Yeah.
at the Capitol this year? Like,
Yeah.
why aren't we having a rally where we try to pack people on the steps of it? Or,
Yeah.
And the answer is we've been working behind the scenes,
Yeah.
with different folks, and it took many conversations and a friend of a friend of a friend to go get this thing across the finish line. And but Representative Slayton, I mean, he was a natural fit. He's
Is he?
And he co-authored 1359 in the last session.
Yep.
And so his ability, I mean, he's a supporter of this, but it's it just takes the right timing and the right alignment of everything to get that actually filed, get it get it the pen to the paper and get it in the office. So
well, and let me I kind of imagine if you sign on and you're the sponsor, you're basically saying I'm willing to defend this in public. And that's something I think the legislators need to realize, that this is a hot issue. This is going to have a lot of press, and you're kind of basically you're signing on to be the spokesman for this thing when it comes to representative. Is that true? Is that kind of something that it's hard to get people over? Is they got to be ready for it?
Definitely. Well, especially as the primary filer of the bill, or the primary author, they're going to take more questions. Their staff's going to take more questions. So there's a lot of things that goes into making sure that they're prepared, and that the timing lines up right too with the other bills and the things that they're trying to get filed. So I think, if you're looking at one of the questions of, well, someone who signed the Texas First Pledge like Slayton and the previous co-author, why did he take so long? My guess is it had a lot to do with these other bills that he was getting filed and making sure that the priorities were right to where it made sense for him and his workload and his staff.
Yeah. So. Yep. Wow. Because it was Kyle Biederman last time. Is that right? He was the primary sponsor. Okay. This is huge news. And it was just so cool. And I could tell, Daniel usually gives me a hard time. And I could tell that he was literally like so pleased. And that was just it's so neat to see the genuine nature of excitement. But you said, hey, this is obviously just the beginning, but it can't happen unless this happens. This is a big deal.
Yeah.
Right?
This is step 2.
Step 2.
Right. Because step 1 was the Ledge Council we talked about last time I was on with you. And it sailed through there with no changes. So now we have the bill filed. Wow. This is great. We're in the process of reaching out to all those other legislators. So we've been asking for a while too, people that expressed up front they weren't willing to file the bill. They didn't want to take on that initial role.
Sure.
But they said, well, I think we'll probably vote for it if it hits House floor.
Okay.
And a lot of them will go like, well, we'll see what happens.
We'll see what
happens.
Yeah,
I won't tell you either way how they stand. So you're trying to work to get that answer out of them.
Yep.
But there were a number that have said that we're likely to vote for it. So then taking them to the next step of the co-author is one of the big things that we're trying to add right now. Okay. And they're like, well, we can't co-author it until you get someone to file it. So it gives them an out to not have to answer the hard questions. Wow. And so now that it's filed, we get to go back and add that pressure and say, okay, let's talk about what's standing in the way of you signing on as co-author.
That's awesome. Well, okay. I remember early on, we'd been talking about this for a long time, and you had said to me, previously that you were excited months and months ago when there were 2 planks on the Republican Party's convention about this, and they'd passed by, I think, 89% or something like that. Yeah. Can you talk to what those planks specifically were? Because I think this directly relates to at least the Republican representatives and the direction that they were likely to vote if enough people were on it. How does that factor in? Hey, you already voted for this in the plank. Like, how does that work in the process?
So that was planks 33 and 225 on the Republican Party platform. And one of them was a plank that we've had on there in an iteration or another for a number of years. Going back to 2016, we got this, and it was a sovereignty resolution that says, well, things are pretty bad. We need to tell the federal government that things are really bad. Yeah. And one of the components we got in there had to do actually with Article 1, Section 1 of the Texas Constitution that says the perpetuity of the Union depends upon the right of local self-government unimpaired to all the states. Basically, it says at any time local self-government has been denied to any state by the federal government, that Texas is going like, you violated our contract, we're out. I mean, that's the first section in there. And so back in 2016, overwhelming support from the Republican Party to say, yes, our rights have been impaired, which by de facto says, so that's been in there. And then this one, it's strengthened. And the second half of that says, and the state of Texas should, or the legislature should pass a bill calling for a referendum on Texas independence.
Wow.
So it acknowledged that the contract's been broken, and then calls for a vote. Now, the second one that got added, Plank 225, says basically the language of the referendum that the 2023 legislature should call for a bill saying that the state of Texas shall reassert its status as an independent nation in 2023. So it says very specifically, and that one got over 80% support of the delegates there, that they want to vote, and they want it this year.
Dude, this year. Folks, this is a big deal. This is a really big deal. It's cool for me. You know, I almost feel like we're breaking news here. The excitement I can tell in the group in the room, you know, cheering for that. People are across the Capitol building talking with representatives about the importance of giving the people of Texas this right to vote. And, you know, what I love about the TNM and the style and the approach that you've taken is you're saying we're doing this in a peaceful way. We're doing this according to the rules, but we're also standing on the truth. And the truth is that these rights that we have are not given to us by the state, but they're given to us by a creator. And to me, that is so powerful. But here's the thing that I think you're going to be blessed with. He's not only the CEO, he's the CFO, the CTO, the CMO. He is the supreme I done told you. He is the mayor of Sassy City. He is the commander of couch cushion maintenance. And in the islands, he's known as King Kamehameha. Folks, we have a guest in the house. What's up, Rags?
Dang.
Can you believe this news, dude?
Man, so they just linked the House bill here in chat. So I'm going to share that out over Twitter here in a second.
Awesome.
That is massive. And I just want to say what's even more massive is how well Nate cleans up. I know. Clue, man.
Yeah, and he doesn't have his big old cowboy hat on this time.
I know, man. Nice backdrop. You're at the Capitol, man. Cool. There's no better place to be right now.
This is and it's an amazing room that we're in here. I didn't know we were going to have this good a setup here. And then of course you saw Sam Kemp came in, brought me the Texas quarters. Isn't that cool, man?
That is so cool, man.
It's so amazing, and it's I don't know. These things mean so much to me.
Yeah,
you know?
That's incredible.
Yeah, so I'm just super thankful. And so Rags, you know, we've got 50 people here in the chat. People, I think it's cool is that people across the world are sharing in this news and excitement. How are you feeling? You're a guy in Virginia. You know, you've been tracking with all this with the Texan token, but how does it make you feel?
Yeah, one of the biggest questions that I receive is, Brandon, you're from Virginia. Why the hell are you worried about what's happening in Texas? And I've come to recognize through my research that this is probably the only legitimate way to really change things for the better after generations and generations and generations of the same thing happening. We've got to change it up, and we need a leader in the states to be able to change the status quo. And I think that Texas has the balls to do that, and I'm behind that. So that's why.
Well, I love the concept of rebooting the system, you know, this technological reboot. And there's no better set of boots than the boots of Texas to put them in your beep. Well, Rags, this is awesome. Will you stick around with me here?
Yeah,
We're
absolutely.
gonna bring some other folks in. So tell us specifically, if somebody's in Texas watching this at any point, what should they do now? Because now we have a sponsor, House Bill 3596. What should people do now as a direct action?
You want to contact your representative. So if you go to tnm.me/let-Texas-decide,
okay,
and it will take you to a page where you put your address in. It'll map you and show you who your state rep and who your state senator is.
Okay.
It'll give you some pre-populated tweets that you can tweet at them.
Okay.
A letter that you can print out and send to them, an email already formatted. You just click on it and it pulls up a sample email that you're welcome to edit. Say whatever you want, but we want to ask them to sign on as a co-author if they're a representative, or a co-sponsor if they're a senator.
Co-sponsor or sign on as a co-author?
Correct.
Okay.
If you're in the same chamber, you would sign on as a co-author to a bill.
Okay.
If you're in a different chamber, like the Senate, they can sign on as a co-sponsor to the House bill. They also can contact us about filing the Senate companion bill as well, where they can actually push it through there. So.
Okay. Awesome, dude.
Yeah.
Congratulations. I mean, it's got to be satisfying for you. I've come late. I'm Johnny come lately to this party, but you're a guy who has been slugging it out with Daniel and and Daphne and all sorts of other volunteers. So thanks for doing it.
I want to say something too about when you reach out to your representative,
Yep.
there's a couple of key talking points. We're not trying to get the representatives to outright support TEXIT. We are asking them to give Texans a vote on this issue. And that's what this is about. So regardless of whether you support TEXIT or not, whether you think we should actually become our own self-governing nation and retake full control of Texas government and what's best for the Texas people, even if you don't think that's the best course of action as a representative, that's fine. Your duty per the Texas Constitution is to let the people of Texas make that decision.
Right.
So when you reach out to them, use that term, encourage them to support this bill and let the people of Texas vote. Oh, and as a bonus, you can tell them it doesn't even cost Texas anything because the vote takes place in the same session. So,
awesome.
Or in a traditional vote. So,
awesome.
Yeah.
And so this would be November of 2023.
November of 2023.
Wow.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Well, congratulations on the big news. I'm so thankful we got to share that when it was super fresh, and appreciate all you do. Thank you very much, man. All right. Thank you. All right, Rags, we're going to say hello to the chat, and then I've got another guest that wants to say hello to you.
Roger.
You got some fans in the room, if you know what I'm saying.
Let's do it.
All right, so let's say hello to folks that are here. Taryn, thanks for being back here. Of course, Hex Monkey, amazing to have you in the chat. Ryan Hungate, you know that guy?
I've come to know that guy over time. Yes.
Yes. We're witnessing history in the making, folks. It may not be today, it may not be tomorrow, but it sure will happen when the stars align. And that's the thing. We see these things coming together, and the stars at night are big and bright. Quantifiably correct. Good to see you. Francis Powell, NT Fryer. It's almost like Rags timed the end of his stream perfectly. Immutable. Remember the Alamo, Rich Liberation Sporting Texan. Briz, what's up, Briz? Texan is pamping. I haven't even looked at it, man. I'm just busy hustling. Empty Corner, what's going on? Good to see you. Immutable. Texas will again lift its head and stand among the nations. It ought to do so, for no country upon the globe can compare it in its natural advantages. Amen to that. The quote of the day. Let's go, Rich Liberation. Amazing. So this is all people commenting about what's going on. Funding Jim's here. Thanks for being here, Funding Jim. Congratulations to Daniel. Crypto Compassion, Texan Tailgate. This guy Rags to Riches, For the Pulse X. Nice to see you. Hex on Air, Tribal Sounds. What's up for us? Samantha's here. Terrafin. Dude, I haven't seen Terrafin in forever. Man, gracing.
He's killing it. Terrafin's killing it. Yeah, he's doing great.
Airto, good to see you. Amish Muscle, Texan Token, super bullish for the project. Thanks for being here. You know what, Rags, I came into this room and all the volunteers for the TNM were here, and everybody's like, hey, have you seen that price chart? People are really excited. It's fun because I'm in like this bubble with you, just talking about this stuff, and to meet people that are like, hey, thanks for doing this.
Yeah, it's funny is crypto Twitter thinks that we're just making these people up.
Yeah,
It's just a talking point. No, they're here. They're real. Look at Sam Kemp.
Sam Kemp, yeah, I think Sam Kemp is our he's the poster boy. It's so great. It's so great to have Godfather J6. Thanks for being here. Michael's here, Roof Dog, Samantha, Barry Crump. What's up, buddy? Good to see you. I hope everyone's doing well. Anders, let's see. I just want to make sure we say hello to everybody, and then we're going to bring in our next guest. 3596. That's got a 369 in it, Brandon.
It does.
KD, what's going on? And John May. John May, much love to you, my friend. We are with you and standing with you. Things are going to get better. It's springtime. I was driving down I-35 to get to Austin. I saw the first blue bonnets of the year. And in Texas, that is the sign that things are going to be okay. That is the truth.
Springtime where you're at. Nice.
Yeah, it is. It's getting there. That's what it is. It's actually hot walking over to the Capitol.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so Sam Kemp said it while he was here. 1945, man. Yeah, 1978. Yeah, he's a young lad. No, 1945, he said he's not a boomer. So don't call him a boomer, dang it.
That makes him 78 years old.
He's a war baby. Yeah, 78. That's right. 78. Yeah. In August. Yeah, don't push it. Don't push it, my friend.
79.
Don't push it. That's right. Let's set the captives free. Fantastic. All right, folks, I want to make sure he's in the room here. Where is he? There he is. Okay. So my guest wants to say hello to you.
Mm-hmm.
And also I want to, he flew in actually to come and see this. I want to get his take on this news and information, all that stuff. But folks, if you don't know him, you need to know him. He's not only a Hexican, he's a Texican, but he's also a singer. Danny the singer. What's up, man?
Dang.
welcome. Danny the singer in the house, looking with his red tie
Ooh,
on.
looking sharp.
Dude, he is. Yeah, this is making me look bad
So this
here.
is the camera here?
Yeah, that's it right there.
Oh, wow. You got a nice
Gosh.
setup here.
Yeah,
Get
look,
your
we got
mobile-
this. We got the seal of Texas
Get your
behind
mobile
us.
set up.
This
Can you
is
get
so
me an
good.
autograph? Is
Yeah,
that
I know.
possible?
And he smells good too. That's the best part, man.
Danny,
So-
what's up, man?
Hey.
So, what do you think? I mean, you walk in the room, you walk around, you got a chance to talk to some folks, and then you get this announcement that we've got a bill, filed. What's your reaction?
Well, super excited. I mean, honestly, I think I'm a lot like most people even watching this. Maybe you don't get real plugged into the process.
Yeah.
When I hear these things about, they're going to file a bill, it's like, well, explain that to me a little bit better. Help me understand. I mean, I remember I watched the Conjunction Junction and all that.
Right.
Like,
What's
and
your
I'm just a
function?
bill. Oh,
It's
I'm
so-
only a bill.
Bill,
and
I'm on
sitting
Capitol
here on
Hill.
Capitol. I remember that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But you have all these committees and all these
Yeah.
different things, right? So yeah, it's good to be here and actually see the process. And you hear also folks visiting their congressmen. They're visiting their representatives, and so actually showing up in their office, and that's a big deal.
Yeah.
And so that's why I came today, was to do that, get out there, make sure they understand, putting a face with a name.
Yep.
And letting them know we do want a vote. We do want to let the people of Texas be able to decide this, and not just keep kicking the can down the road, thinking we're going to be able to make something out of a mess. And so so that's why I wanted to support it.
Well, and it makes such a big statement, and I'm just beside myself because I feel like timing is so important. And Brandon, you've seen that. We've all seen that so many times. That right at the right time, what somebody said to me, well, and they've said it many times, is that, God's rarely early, but he's always right on time. Right. And I think about that in this scenario and I go, all right, this is what is necessary for the next step to happen. And we'll be faithful with the day and walk it out. And how do you see, why do you support Texas independence? Why, a guy like you, you're doing well, you're OG Hexican, you're a supporter of this. What makes you want to support Texas independence?
I mean, I think, first of all, I'm born and raised in Texas, and everything that I grew up, all of the principles and standards of that we've grown up with, of self-sufficiency and loving your neighbor and all of this, and you don't have to agree with your neighbor, but we love our neighbor, right?
Yep.
And but now we're living in a society that is just it's going. It really is a clown world.
Yeah.
You look at things that in the news, and that is the way of the country.
Yep.
But that is the way of Texas. Texas is going as well, just in a slower process.
Yep.
And so, at what point do we stand up and say no? We're going to wait till we're overrun with that kind of thinking, all of this clown world thinking before we try to do something, and then it's too late. So no, stand up. Let's stand up right now and let our voices be heard.
Yep.
To say no, to push back against that, and to push back against the central authority craziness. The central planners of our country and the central planners of the world.
It says a lot to me because the TNM, the way that they've done things, the professionalism, the peaceful approach, working with legislators. It's not pitchforks and torches and such. It's more within the process. And I feel like for a guy like you, and I've come to know you, you're not just going to jump on anything. You're going to think through things. And I think it says a lot that you're someone who's saying, hey, I'm going to support this. I know you've been to a number of events and encouraged Daniel and others. You've certainly encouraged me and Brandon. What do you think? What are the implications of this? Let's say we do get folks to sign on and we do get a referendum. What do you think is going to happen what's going to happen around the world? I mean, this is something that potentially is going to be a topic where, a lot of times people would say, I didn't know you could do that. And here we are, the people of Texas having the opportunity. What do you think the implications are for this clown world? Do you think we have a chance of pushing back?
As long as we can actually have that debate.
Yeah,
I think
exactly.
I think we have the chance. And so one of the things that's been real obvious in the last couple of years is that debate has been shut down.
Yeah.
And shut down on every which way, and people have been canceled, and all the different means by which that takes place, right? So as long as we can have that debate, I mean, that's all that I want. I want to be able to have the conversation, have the debate, let there be free speech, which is something that I think everybody would agree that needs to be free speech. I mean, everybody that I know.
Yeah.
But then you look at how we're being controlled in these manners that it's not allowing free speech, even walking around here.
Yep.
You know, it's like,
Yep. There's gates everywhere.
There's gates everywhere.
That's right. Hey, Brandon, any questions you have or anything you want to say to Danny the singer?
Yeah, man, Danny, and I've said this to Danny. I've said this to quite a few people who, Hex Monkey's in the chat here and so many others. I just want to thank you from the bottom of my heart for sticking your neck out for us. Which is some, I'm pretty much some podunk kid from nowhere, just kind of getting on stream and getting on camera here, and Crypto Heartbeat and I are just we're trying to do the best for everybody, and you're helping support that. So I have a massive amount of respect for you for that reason, just from man to man. So thank you.
Oh, well, thank you.
Yeah, man.
Yes, for everything you're doing, and don't let this tie, fool you.
Oh, trust me, I don't let that fool me.
You said you're from a product, you hung out with me, that I grew up on a farm. I mean, but hey, you're here. I wanted to look nice,
There
you go. That's better.
There you go.
Top button undone. There you go.
Well, Brandon, last time I was with Danny, Danny has a nonprofit organization called The Right Hand that he and his wife have started, and he asked me to be on the board of it. And I went down to his house, and of course, this tie is not representative of him because he put ZZ Tesco in his truck and drove us. I literally feared for my life. I was like, we're going to hit this tree. I know we're going to hit this tree. And I'm like, I had to get into my truck, like to go home with my heart racing. So,
oh, trust me, I know all about that.
Yeah. So Danny is known for, definitely driving fast.
People get quiet real quick.
They do. Wow. So Andre asked us, so, and we have a lot of thoughts about this. One of the things that is limited is, the Texan token is an asset, right? It's a commodity. It's seen as a commodity and an asset, as a store of value. And one of the things that you cannot do is you cannot create alternative currency, right? The term cryptocurrency is actually a misnomer. It's actually a crypto asset. And, there will be a time in the future, I think, where things are maybe used at point of sale, where you'll be able to convert whatever crypto it is, Hex or Texan or something, into it. But the plan has never been for the Texan token to be the currency. It's really to augment and to help people lock up value and create a center of value as an asset. So you see it any other way, Danny? I assume that you see it that same way.
Yeah, same.
Yeah. So that's helpful. Well, cool. Well, Danny, are you so you're sticking around? Did you get a chance to talk to anybody, or I know you were delivering stuff across the Capitol?
I did. I had a really good conversation with someone. I don't feel comfortable sharing their name. They're definitely they would vote for it. Yeah, they would vote for it if it's brought, but signing their name on it is a difficult thing, right? So well, here's my encouragement to you: if you're out there, if you're in Texas, continue to please call, make your presence known, let your voices be heard. Extend yourself a little bit, right? Do a little hard things. This is the hardest thing I've done. It was actually travel over here to actually go door to door, right? But you don't have to do that. You can just send the emails, make the phone calls, send the letters, and then also pray. Pray for these folks, because some of these folks, they look and see what happened last time, and they think, man, if I co-author this, they my neck might even be on the chopping block, right? So but if enough people stick out their neck, what are they going to do? They're not going to chop everybody's heads off, right?
That's right.
So that's the thing, is that was kind of the feedback that I got was, until you have more of a critical mass, right? So you need to have more of these folks stepping up. Well, he is part of that critical mass. He is one piece of that, and so you needed to have more people like him. And so, speaking to them, doing the hard work, reaching out.
Yeah, I look at Daniel and Daphne and Nate and all the volunteers, and I think of how long they've been fighting for this, and to see this in the second session, to have a bill and then to have the plank, and like there's momentum here. And then, of course, all the things you talk about, kind of clown world, everything is leading to this time of unrest where good, honest, regular, hardworking people are saying enough is enough. and to have something that we can basically put our hands on and like a lever to pull to say, hey, you can do this. So folks, you don't realize what an email or a letter will do, but it adds up, because what people are doing is a lot of politicians, because they see themselves as representatives, which they should, a lot of times are trying to take the temperature and understand the pulse of the people. And, they might say, hey, I believe that the people of Texas do deserve the right to be heard. And some people might even sign on and say, okay, fine, I'll sign on. However, I don't know that it'll actually pass. That might be their conviction. But it's like, no, I'm not going to keep the people from Texas having the right to actually voice their opinion. I think that's a really important part of the case that we're making today at the legislative day, is to say, hey, just give us a voice.
Absolutely.
Danny the singer, thanks, man. I'm not going to ask you to sing because it might be a little bit awkward, but I appreciate who you are and how much you supported, and I know Brandon appreciates it a ton.
All right.
Thanks, Steve.
Thank you.
You're awesome.
Keep it up.
You're awesome. You bet.
Good, buddy.
So, folks, we're going to have Danny on the Pulse here in the next couple of weeks, talking about the Right Hand, which is his nonprofit organization that serves all kinds of different ministries, and it's an amazing. It's an amazing nonprofit organization that he's building with his wife to really help people fund, all kinds of projects, and really helping vet projects to make sure that, hey, these are legitimate things that can make a big impact. So you look forward to hearing from Danny in the future. He's got a heart the size of Texas, if you know what I'm saying. So Rags, Sam Kemp, Daniel Miller, unbelievable. Nate, Danny the singer. I saw Dean Ross-Sexian in the back. He was here a minute ago. And then here's the cool thing. We have in the Capitol right now, there's a gentleman named Dr. Q. His first name is Matt, conveniently. And he is he's a professor out of university in Australia. He's originally from England. And he has written the book on independence internationally. So he's kind of this
figurehead in a way.
Yeah, he's the glue in a way of speaking to how are independence movements, how do they happen, and he takes it from, he's really taking it from this academic perspective, and so he actually came into town at Daniel's request. He's been speaking here at the University of Texas and supporting the folks in the room, but he has written this book, and he's basically not really a consultant, but somebody who's bringing academic rigor to this concept of independence. And so when he comes in, I'm going to bring him on as well, and he's going to share about his book. He's a very Jordan Peterson-like character. You know what I mean? Yeah. Which is very, very cool.
Well, and that's, you mentioned academic rigor, and you mentioned kind of, you need some like social proof in a way. You need people to have kind of attach that academic side to what's happening, to bring the facts, and that makes people feel more comfortable too. A better understanding makes you feel more comfortable.
Absolutely. Samantha, thanks for being here. Like, share, and subscribe. I appreciate that. John May, it's amazing. God is good. Hexonium, driving home for Pulse Chain. It's coming soon, folks. A lot is building up. Brandon, you talked about the rubber band being pulled back. It's been pulled back and pulled back. Where's it at right now? Where is our rubber band when it comes to?
Well, they're talking about critical mass in the Capitol. This rubber band, I can hear it screaming from here. The rubber band in Texas there. But when we look at our project and we look at kind of what's happening in the world, there's kind of like I'm looking for the word for this. There's like a synergy. And there's kind of just like a coming together. And right now there's a lot of forces working together in the right direction. So that thing's being pulled back. Eventually, boom, it's going to snap and the thing's going to fly. And I think we're still in that stage, man. But we're in the cringe stage. We're like, oh no. Oh no. And then boom, gone.
Yeah. It's so hopeful, right? And it is. There's a lot that's exactly how I felt when Daniel came in and shared that a bill has been filed. And that's what a blessing. What a blessing.
What a blessing. And all the FUD that's going to come. They're going to be saying, but here's what it is. Okay. So here's how you reply to that, guys. Yeah. Are you telling me that the people shouldn't have a right to be able to vote on this?
Yeah.
The people, you're saying the people should not have a right to vote on this. And that's how you overcome it. Because if they say no, they say no. If they say yes, they say yes. But
Yeah.
just a vote, a simple vote.
Yep, absolutely. Checks my pulse. Afternoon, Matt. Look at you putting in the work. You're an inspiration, fighting the good fight. You know, it's crazy. It's like, some weeks, I don't know if you see it this way too, Brandon, but some weeks you're not super busy. And then other weeks, it's like everything. We launched Ophir this morning. It's 7 a.m. Central Time. We had John, and that was an amazing stream, in my opinion. Like, I was like, wow, that is special. And to see, I learned things on that live stream. Did you learn things? I mean, you knew a lot about the Philippines, but I felt like I really got a feel for how catalytic this could potentially be for them in the Philippines because of the nature of virality.
Well, it answered some questions I had, Matt. And one of the questions going into this is like, am I going to have to carry the whole load of this on my shoulders? And you don't have to, because this is a whole new community. They're taking this and they're running with this. And we're basically just dropping seeds that turn into oak trees all across the world. And this is what's happening. So yeah, man, we've been busy. 7 a.m. stream. You streamed. I hopped on. You started driving. I streamed. I got off my stream. And then you started streaming again after you drove to the state capitol. And are you staying there tonight? I don't know. Are you?
No, we're going to head back, but we're going to the Houston Rodeo tomorrow. Look who's here.
ZZ Tesco.
What's up, man? Folks, for those of you who don't know, so Ray, best friend of 22 years, right? The length of a max stake length of Texan. We've been friends. And so for those of you who don't know, you haven't seen him literally on stream like this much. What do you think? The excitement in the room? What's your sense of all this stuff? Isn't this crazy, dude?
Well, it is. It's impressive, actually, when you start thinking about what it takes to actually move some of the pieces around,
Yeah.
I mean,
it's how the sausage is made, man.
We walked into the building, and my thought is, this whole building is created to move around the ideas of people.
Yeah.
If we didn't have the idea of people coming together for a government, we wouldn't have Texas State House. So.
Yeah, well, there's a sense of awe. So I want to show everybody this. So look at this picture. This is me in ZZ Tesco. You walk in the rotunda, and you literally, it's like it has an impact on you because it's so big, and it's, everything's bigger in Texas, of course. But you get this feeling like, I better keep my act together here. And so it is, in a way, a bit of a gate. But you also were on the Ophir call this morning. And I know you have a different perspective than a lot of folks do. So Ray is our senior dev. He is the guy who wrote the contract. He is the guy who has done all the work as it relates to blockchain and all the development there. And, Ray and I have spent many, many, many hours on the whiteboard going, all right, what do we want this to look like? How's this going to work? And he's the guy who's made basically all my dreams come true. But Ray, what's your sense of, a monumental day? We launch Ophir with John. Then we've got this announcement of the bill being passed. It seems like things are kind of coming together. What was your sense of this morning?
Well, this morning was great. And it's been a culmination of a bunch of people coming together for a purpose for the Philippines. It's interesting because, you realize they're 14 hours ahead across the other side of the world. And in my brain, I think, if I just map those people in my head on a map, we've got friends over there.
Is that a flat map or is that a round map?
Matt,
stop.
Down, Matt.
Fair enough.
I cannot answer that question.
No, of course.
Smart.
It is cool, and I think that it just goes to show you, I think in the past, because of the limits of communication technology, we have been told by centralized players who to like, who to dislike, who to hate, who not to hate. And now that things have fractured so much and we have this access and this ability to have friends in the chat from across the world, having people in the Philippines, all of these kind of things, it makes people it brings the humanity back to things. You go, hold on a second. We're all a part of this together. And I think what's so cool is to see John so convicted by his faith that he's literally saying, hey, listen, this is an extension of not only who I am, but literally the truth of the gospel. And that to me just blew my mind.
Yeah, I mean, and there's the gospel piece, but you think about even the way that we've used our churches in America for assembly, for people coming together to say we want change.
Yeah.
We want to bring, and these people can't meet together because there's no roof over their heads. Having to meet during a typhoon, I mean, you're not going to get anything done.
Dude, that's a huge point. You made that's a really, really good point. You're tying things together. Not only this idea of assembly, and here we are in this house of assembly, but also the fact that giving people the opportunity to associate. And, Richard Hart said, we got this, sacrifice for freedom of movement. And, we don't use the term movement in the States very much. We talk about assembly. But if you think about it, that's what it is, this ability to share ideas in a place like this. So that's a really good point, dude.
Yeah.
It's a really good point.
It's exciting to see it all come together. And I know a lot of people have worked really hard.
Yep.
Yeah,
you especially.
Well, no, I mean,
yes, and Ryan,
and
Ryan. So Ryan Hungate is the guy that literally I was texting him while we were on the live stream. Hey, can you make this change and add this to it? So, hey, how about that from Sam Kemp?
That's pretty amazing. Yes, big shout out to Ryan though.
Yes, big shout out to Ryan.
But I'm just it's neat to be part of it. What's really cool about this though is, and what I've noticed is, sometimes I get in my own world and I'm doing my things, and I don't always check Telegram, but then I look and I see the hundreds of texts and hundreds of correspondences between our team and those people out there that are asking questions, and the support that's generated from, guys working hard, giving up their time, watching their phones, watching their devices. That's impressive. And it's great to be part of all of that. And, you almost feel like, coding the solidity part was the easy part.
Yeah.
It's the boots on the ground that really make a big difference. So I'm happy to stand with you.
Yeah. Well, Brandon, I want you to comment on this one, because I know you have a lot to say. This is the essence of decentralization, where a group of people takes ownership and they bring to the table the things that they're gifted with. So, Ray, you're bringing your ability to build code. Ryan's bringing the same kind of ability, but in a different way, in a different expertise. Brandon's bringing his passion and his audience and his voice. But then all of these people, Samantha and KD and all of these folks, David Lee, all of the people around, all the team that I don't even know in the Philippines. What are your thoughts on that? It's really the picture of decentralization. And it's kind of what we're doing here. People coming in and talking to their representatives saying, hey, this is what we want. This is unity building. What are your thoughts on that?
I'm going to sit in front of a panel of people one day. I don't know where this panel is going to be, but they're going to look at me and they're going to look at you, and they're going to look at us as the representatives of these projects. And they're going to say, who are you, Rags to Riches? Who are you, Brandon, to create something this vast? And I'm going to tell them, I'm going to say, I am nobody. I care about people and I do the right thing.
Yeah.
And that's the neat thing. We don't have certifications. We don't have to have filters that we go through to be able to do the right thing and help people out. It's wonderful. It's incredible. And I am nobody, but together we are somebody. And that's what's important.
Yeah. No, there's no question.
Yep.
You are somebody, Ray.
Thank you.
Oh, he's protecting me.
You were somebody too.
Thanks, Ray. It is cool though. It's neat because it's I think in the corporate world and in the way we've been raised, somebody was talking about education the other day, and they said, they put you in lines and they ring a bell as if it's a factory. And of course that came out of the Industrial Revolution, this idea, let's put the kids in rows and have a bell ring, right? Teach you how to, to do something on the assembly line. And things have changed in a way in which we're seeing people bring their unique giftedness, their calling, all of these things to the table. And it's sad to see the deterioration of the family, the deterioration of, this care that people have had in community for each other. And so to me, the blockchain, this community across the world coming together to support people in the Philippines or in Texas. But at some point in time, we're going to have so many projects, Brandon, around the world that these things could be tied together or unified. What are your thoughts about that?
Yeah, big part of this is trying to figure out how to unify these things, and we've come up with a solution in Freedom Swap, and that's very, very exciting. So we're gonna have all these projects that are going to be connected together with liquidity by means of, Freedom Swap, which is super cool. We did a stream about that the other day. And there's some really, really cool pumpamentals and tokenomics involved with this, Matt. So maybe you can touch on that.
Yeah, absolutely. Before we do, I just want to say to Ray, thanks for everything, and thanks for helping me.
Dude,
I can't go anywhere without Ray. He's my my buddy.
Ever since day one, it's been fun to come up with.
Yeah, we have adventures all the time. And Brandon, this is so cool. You're not seeing it in here, how cool this place is. It's so cool.
So thank you very much.
Yeah, you bet. Thanks a lot, Ray. I appreciate it.
Be good, Ray.
Super.
Yeah, it's so cool. It is such a neat thing to do. And you have this sense of you better be on your best behavior.
Right.
So anyway, yeah, this is so Freedom Swap I want to share with you. A lot of this comes out of your thinking, Brandon, about how do you connect projects together. And a decentralized exchange, or a DEX, is, in this case, it's going to be a fork of Uniswap v3. And so this is, by the time we actually get to launch things here this summer, v3 will be out. We'll be able to utilize v3 of Uniswap. But this is an automated market maker. It looks just like you would expect from Uniswap, but it'd be called Freedom Swap. One of the unique characteristics of this is that it will have all 100% of the fees will be paid to LPs. So there's no cut there. It's 100% to LPs. And then the protocol fee is going to go to buy and burn the Unifier token. Why is that so important, Brandon?
Yeah, because the Unifier token is what's going to actually unify all these projects together. And if you hold this Unifier token, this protocol fee is going to go to buy and burn with every transaction that occurs on Freedom Swap, which is positive buy pressure in perpetuity. It's beautiful.
It is beautiful. It is beautiful. And so, this is essentially what we want to do on, well, why don't you speak to this too, Brandon? There's not a DEX for us, if you will, on Ethereum. We know that PulseX is going to be on the Pulse chain, but there's not a place for new coiners and no coiners that are coming into these communities. And to have a place like Freedom Swap to do that benefits them directly. Because if you've got a max stake length of like a 22-year stake with Texan, or you will then be able to, claim your Unifier token every 30 days.
Yeah, I kind of think about it as kind of like a college campus. So when you come to go to school, there is a place for you to learn, okay? There's a place for you to work out. There's a place for you to go eat. There's a place for you to go send mail. There's a mail thing on campus. You got UPS or FedEx. So it's a one-stop shop. And I think that, kind of our idea here is, if we're going to be tokenizing communities, and this is going to be their first interaction that they have with our ecosystem, if they're on the Ethereum side, we want to point them to something that we built, right?
Yep.
One-stop shop it.
Yep.
So I think that the big thing here is, let's create a DEX. Let's create a DEX for not only our folks, but also anybody else in the community who's interested. And this DEX is created by people that understand, kind of the first principles of crypto as taught by Richard. So I think it's going to be pretty cool to shell that out there. I know this person.
Yes, it's Daphne. Daphne is the chief of staff, and the fact that we actually get a little bit of her time today is a miracle in and of itself. How excited are you that there is a bill that has been filed?
Oh, Matt, we are so excited. You know how hard we've been working on this.
Yeah, I know you have.
We're like ecstatic.
You're the hardest working people I've ever seen. It's so hard. I ask you, where are you today? Because you're traveling all over the place, going so many different places. Tell us about what today is here at the Capitol. This is a specific day for the Texas legislature. Why are we here? What are people doing? The volunteers are all across the Capitol building right now. What are they doing?
Correct. So it's a special day that we scheduled. It's a legislative action work day, and they were certain volunteers. We don't have all of our volunteers here, just a certain amount, because we only had a certain size room, obviously, that we're working in today. And what they did today, they went around to every single legislature, whether it was a Democrat or a Republican or just somebody who was sitting up in the office, I guess. I don't know. Okay. That happens. Anyway, they go, and we made little gift bags for them. I think I gave you one too.
This is so cute. See, oh my goodness, look at that. Bags. I'm going to have to send you some T&M breath mints, Brandon.
And Brandon, we even have our own chocolate bar.
Oh,
yeah.
what
chocolate.
happens
Ooh.
in it. Yeah.
He likes
And
that.
if you see down here, it has, well, the mints are over
Ooh.
it. But look, Matt, it has Article 1, Section 2
Oh,
printed
yeah.
on the chocolate bar.
Right on there. That's
Nice.
awesome. That is awesome. So yeah,
So anyway, we made the little gift packs up. We started last week by sending out an invitation via email to all of the legislators and the senators as well. And then we on Thursday had a volunteer. And y'all, let me just tell you, we had one volunteer that did this because some of them didn't show up and come help her. So her name is Stacy Polly. So give Stacy a shout out,
Yay.
guys, because she had to walk the whole halls up here by herself and hand out a written invitation. And that was actually on March 2nd, which is Texas Independence Day.
Yes.
So we did that. And then today we followed up with the gift packs and another invitation to ask them to come see it. Now, so what happens is you might have some staffers show up. Occasionally you might have a legislator or senator show up, but they're really busy because they're in session. So they're running all over. If anybody has never been up here, it looks like a little train yard or something out there.
Yeah.
Just people going everywhere doing all sorts of stuff. But it gives us an opportunity to talk one-on-one to either the staffers or one of the representatives or the senators. And so I know I've just been getting reports that some of our other volunteers that are here are out again after they've already delivered the packs. They're just out visiting with perhaps maybe their particular senator or state representative. And I'm getting some really good reports back.
Good. Now you have been with the TNM for quite some time. How does this session and what happened today differ from what you've seen in the past? Is there anything different that you can characterize?
Honestly, it's not a good different, Matt. This has been a hard session for us. You know, last year, Representative Carl Biederman almost right after filing dead open went and filed the bill for it. And we have had to work to get this bill filed because most of the representatives that were on our bill in the last session were redistricted and they didn't get an opportunity to run again, or they either didn't run because they couldn't win, or they got put into a Democratic set. So it was a targeting, basically, is what they did to them. So we had one of those. Well, actually, we have two of those guys left that were on the current bill, which was 1359 in the last session. And so Representative Brian Sleeton was the one that today filed the bill, and he's one of the ones that carried over from 1359. Okay. So now our job is to go out, and they call it whip. More that's what they call it. Yeah, to whip more of the votes so that we can get more co-authors. That's what we'll be going after next. We'll be looking for co-authors to come onto the bill and help Representative Slayton out. And the next thing after that, or really it kind of works simultaneously with that, is to get a senator to go file a companion bill over on the Senate side. And we have already been working on a couple of 2 or 3 senators. And so hopefully that's going to come about pretty quickly as well.
That's so great. Well, it's so cool I just thought, I'm just going to come in, we're going to stream and maybe talk to some folks, and to have this kind of news is so awesome.
I know, we're so excited.
That is fantastic news. Well, is there anything you would say directly to any of the folks in the chat or who do watch of what they should do right now if they are in Texas? Obviously contacting but is there a specific thing to ask them to do?
Yes. The best thing to do is to go to their district, or you can call the Capitol, or you can call their district offices. Every representative and senator has a district office, and they have people that work in those district offices. Is to call, to email, to go show up at the door, send snail mail, do it all. If you send an email, go ahead and call them and tell them that you expect them to uphold the Texas Constitution, Article 1, Section 2, that gives the people of Texas the right to vote. And as a constituent, that's what you're expecting for them to do, is to be a representative of the people like they're supposed to be. But definitely, if they do live in Texas, you do have a particular representative or a senator. And if you don't know who that is, you can go onto the TNM website. And if you're registered as a supporter, it will map it out for you and tell you who that is.
Awesome.
And there's also, you can just go into the state of Texas on their particular website, type in your zip code, and that'll pull it up as well too. But that's what's important now, is that every one of these representatives and senators hear from people that live in Texas, telling them they want to vote, because that's how it works. If your representative knows that they've got a lot of people that are their constituents behind them, then they're more likely to support us.
Yeah, absolutely.
If they don't hear from us, then they think nobody wants this and they don't want to support us.
Yeah, no, it's easy to let that stuff slide if you don't. So we've got to stand up and act. And so folks, if you're in Texas or know anybody in Texas, encourage them to call their representatives and reach out and let them know. And I think, you know, what I've learned from you and from Nate and from Daniel is, hey, give us an opportunity to voice our opinion, to be able to have a vote.
That's it, Matt. It doesn't matter whether the representative or the senator particularly believes in it. What matters is that their job is to uphold the Texas Constitution, and that's all we're asking them to do. They can vote just like we can, and they're welcome to go into to the voting booth and vote no. We don't care. You know, that's not the issue. The issue is this is only about giving people in the state of Texas the right to vote.
Awesome. So you're herding cats the rest of the day?
Much.
Yeah, I heard it earlier today. I was like hearing all the cats. But thanks for all that you do for the TNM, and just, I mean, you're the Energizer Bunny. So thank you.
I don't feel like that sometimes, but
Yeah.
you know, we have really good volunteers in the TNM, as you can see, and any other organization will tell you that the TNM is known for their hardworking volunteers, and we appreciate them so much. They're all like family to us.
Yep.
This is not easy, as you well know.
Yeah.
It's a very, very hard road to walk, and we've made a lot of progress, but we surely couldn't do it without the volunteers.
Awesome. Do you think we can get Dean Ross to come up here?
I bet we can.
You think so? With his cowboy hat on?
Yeah, he has his hat
All
today.
right.
Come
We'll
on
do
up,
that.
Dean.
We'll do that.
Well, thank you for having me, Matt.
Yes.
I appreciate it.
Good to see you.
Uh-huh.
Thank you.
Definitely.
So you know this guy. So we had Sam Kemp come on, right? That is often in the chat. We got another one who's often in the chat, and he is gussied up for the occasion.
Another real person, not
Another
a robot.
human being.
Wow.
Yeah,
Wow.
not another name. Dean Ross Texian, right? Is that
Dean.
what it is online? What's
That's
up,
right.
Dean?
How we
Dean
doing, Matt?
Good.
What's up, brother?
How
Another
about
day.
that? This is about as Texas as it gets, man. How are you feeling about all this stuff?
Oh, it's exciting. It's
Yeah.
absolutely amazing.
Are you I was kind of surprised by Daniel's announcement when he first walked in. Were you?
I wasn't here for the announcement, so I didn't actually get to hear it.
Oh my gosh, it was amazing. I didn't know that this was going to be happening here. We were going to
Mm.
get a bill. So tell us about your role as a volunteer and where you're at and what you do.
So what I do is I am the deputy field director. I interview and assess everybody who is coming on board to be a local coordinator, a deputy local coordinator, district director, just to make sure, you know, they understand the role and the importance of what they're going to do for the organization.
Okay. Awesome. And so is that across the state?
That's the whole state.
Okay. So if somebody comes on as a coordinator, you're going to help train them, help them get there.
Correct.
Well, this is awesome. It's good to see you. You're like at every event. I swear I see you everywhere.
I try to go just about everywhere. I've been all over Texas this last week,
Yeah.
and I'll be down in Houston tomorrow and on Wednesday.
Okay. So a big event, obviously the what is it? The rodeo
The Houston Rodeo.
and stock show, right?
Mhm.
Wow. That's a big event.
That is a huge event. It is a very huge event. I think it's one of the largest rodeos in Texas
Yeah.
to date.
Wow. I guess it would be my first Houston rodeo, Brandon. How many rodeos you been to?
3.5.
3.5. Okay. Dude, we're gonna have to get you some boots and a hat. man.
So I've been to a rodeo in Virginia. I've been to a rodeo in Georgia,
No, those are not rodeos, right?
but I've
That's
not
like
been to
having-
one in Texas.
Yeah, you can't eat brisket anywhere outside of Texas, and you can't
Okay.
have a rodeo either.
Take
is
me.
my understanding. Well, cool. Now, have you been kind of working your way around here? And
Yes,
supporting?
yes. Actually, when Daniel made that announcement, I was out going door to door to the different representatives, dropping off a reminder that we were having our event today and giving them a little goodie bag.
Yep.
And spoke with a couple of them, and mostly staff though.
Okay. So I would assume that you're always in need of volunteers.
Always, we are always in need of volunteers.
How would somebody get in contact, or how would they make themselves available or known to the TNM? Like, what's the process by which somebody say, hey, I really want to do something in my local community in Texas? What would they do?
Sure. They would go to tnm.me/volunteer,
Okay.
fill out our new volunteer form. We've just started revamping our volunteer program. We've added a lot more options for people to have intimate house parties inside their homes with their family and friends, where we will have a representative come out and explain to them what it is that we do and who we are.
Well, let's tell Brandon, intimate house party is not what it means in Virginia. Right?
West Virginia.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I thought Virginia was for lovers.
Western Virginia is good.
Oh,
West Virginia is different.
Western Virginia. Okay.
Yeah.
No, I tease, of course, but that's fantastic. So, folks, if you're somebody that's in Texas, the TNM needs people to coordinate in different areas, either connecting with your local group or obviously reaching out to Dean Ross. I appreciate it. Anything you want to share with folks about? You're in the crypto side of things too. I always see you in the chat and all that stuff. And I know you weren't feeling well before, and I'm glad to see you actually.
Yeah, no, I had some health problems there for a little bit. I had back surgery and ended up with some upper respiratory stuff on top of that now.
Yeah.
But I'm doing a lot better.
Okay.
Well,
I'm glad to see you. I'm really glad to see you because my mom went through back surgery and all that, and that's no fun.
No fun at all.
To see you sitting up straight is really a good thing. So awesome, man. Thank you so much for coming up. I appreciate it a lot.
Thanks for having me. Hey, Brandon.
Take it easy, buddy.
All right.
Thank you, buddy.
Cool. It's so cool to connect with people that you just see in the chat and all that. Yeah, it is amazing. So Kinetics is in the house, man.
What's up, brother? Yeah, he's been supporting us real good lately, man. Thank you.
Yeah. So hey, he brought something to my attention, and I shared it over with Ryan, and I think Ray will hear me as I'm sharing this as well. So the referral program right now only has connectivity to Pulse Chain Testnet, and it needs to connect to Ethereum, I believe, in order to get the. So I need to verify for anyone who wants to be a referral partner with Ophir. We need to make sure that it is collecting the data the best it can. So I sent that over to Ryan. But folks, if you have any challenges with the referral program on the Ophir side, we're taking a look at that. I don't know status, but I just wanted to bring that up to anyone. So basically, Kinetics, I'm on it, man. I'm on it. Awesome. David Lee is in the house too. David Lee, welcome back. I know you're out getting your wife from the airport. It'd be great to see you. Actually, let me. I'm going to copy this. If you get a chance, I'd love to have you jump on here with us and say hello. I'm going to put this into the Telegram chat to you. I know people would love to see David Lee if you have that opportunity to come in. And I just want to, David Lee's the guy who traveled not only from southwestern Indiana to my dad's funeral, but he also came to hang out with you, Brandon, when you came into Texas, where we met Sam Kemp.
Yeah, man, that first meetup was special. Really, really liked it there. When we were in Dallas.
Yeah.
We got to meet quite a few people that we'd seen online.
Well, and then who was the gentleman that came and gave you the biggest bear hug and I thought he was going to break your spine?
Oh, Jaron Section on Twitter. Yeah,
he was awesome. It was so great to see those guys. Folks, we're here. I'm here until we got about 2 more hours here for the legislative day. And I want to, when we get a chance here, to bring up the professor, but he's probably out of the room right now because I want you to hear from him. It's pretty impressive, right, to have someone internationally who essentially is saying, how do you go about becoming independent? And he's done all the academic rigor. And if you could, when he does come on, he's very soft spoken, and I want to make sure that you can hear him. So you just let me know on the volume side of things. But that's a real treat. So to be in this place and to see people in person and get access to folks is huge. So they're gonna go get him. But thanks for joining everybody in the chat. Hex Monkey, Hexonium, David Lee, if you're around, come on in. Love to say hello to you and share the good news. The bacon sandwich, dude. Didn't he help you get onto a big Twitter space?
Yeah, we got to talk to the head honcho at Crypto Magazine, and I probably talked to them for probably about 45 minutes straight. Got to talk about what we're doing, and then this weekend, I was able to go back in there and just a really, really good conversation, a really, really adult and mature Twitter space, which is few and far between, as we both know.
Awesome. Well, yeah. Here we go, folks. I want to actually, the reason I want to bring David Lee on is because I want to share the joy that I got to experience when Daniel announced that the bill has been sponsored. David Lee from the car. Let's hope he just put him on. What's up, dude? How are you?
Pretty good. Where'd I go?
I don't know. Your picture's not there, but your voice is. So I know you're traveling, but I appreciate you everything that you've done. But big news here, man. Big news.
Yeah, I'm putting pieces together, but tell me what
Yeah.
the big yeah.
I'll tell you the big news. So I walked into the room right before the stream started, and Daniel sets up a camera and makes the announcement that he just got out of the office that the bill for Texas independence has been sponsored. And so we've got the sponsor. It's got a bill number, and we're ready to go, which is absolutely incredible. There we go. I got you now, man. Oh, there he's gone. And then he's gone. Yeah, that's a big deal. I mean, that's something I didn't expect to happen here. So,
all right, let's see. So, Matt, like, what's your? So this is a question I have. What's it feel like over there? Do people know like who you guys are and what you represent, and how are they treated? What's the reception been like? Because all that sort of stuff.
Yeah, I haven't been in the action. You know, we're in this room here. I'll give you a little view. You can say hi to Sam Kemp here, but just to give you an idea where we are. So we're in this meeting room, right? So this is like a committee room in the Capitol here. And then we've got, you know, kind of the gallery, and there's Sam Kemp right there. What's up? So everyone else, all the volunteers are out and about right now talking with staff and others. And so that's the sense. I do think, though, the professionalism of the volunteers, you know, this is how the sausage gets made. You know, what's amazing to me is I remember going to Washington to talk to the Republican congressional committees, and I was amazed by how many kids there were. And when I mean kids, like young people who are basically running all over the place. And, you know, you've got, when you actually see how the sausage is made, you realize it's not, you know, very orderly.
Sure.
But I do sense that, you know, that's the thing, Daniel and the team and all that. I mean, this is behind the political parties, this is the largest political, you know, group. And obviously it's a civic organization is a nonprofit, but I mean, 444,000 now. It's amazing. David Lee, what's up, buddy? You're back.
Am I back again?
Yeah, you're back. Loud and back. What's up, dude?
Sorry about that. We got feedback.
No, you're good. You're good. It's great to have you, man. Hey, I just wanted to share with you and say thank you to you, because I know you would be excited to hear the news that there's officially been a bill that has been filed for the for Texas independence, and that's a huge deal. And it happened as soon as I walked in the door here. Daniel announced that he was just in the office. It's just amazing.
That is a wonderful news and fantastic for Texas.
Yeah. And you know what's so amazing about this? You know, you see this. This is a special day for you, David, and I know that it is. But two, we launch Ophir, which is really important to you in what you've been investing a lot of your time and energy encouraging the people in the Philippines. And then this is the day the Alamo fell, right? So all of these things, and you are a man of military history. What a neat day, honestly, to have this news.
It's more than I could possibly ask for.
Maybe not all of it, right? And you're on stream with Brandon.
On stream with Brandon, and this is the 2-year anniversary of me accepting Jesus Christ as my Lord and Savior.
Dude, that's like the biggest news of all. Wow, congratulations, man. Isn't it amazing? You just have these reminders. My date is September 10th of 2000. And when that day comes around, I'm just like, man, it means so much to you. So excited for you, man. It's a joy. You get to live this adventure together. And that's why I think these things, they don't happen by accident. They happen by providence. So it's cool to experience it with folks who are who've been putting so much energy and effort into this.
So grateful for this community and team.
Yeah. Well, thanks, buddy. It's so good to see you, man. Of course, he's, in the truck driving somewhere to love on somebody. Give him a big hug. You're awesome, David, man. Thank you so much. Congratulations, man.
Appreciate
All right. Take care, buddy. Awesome. Yeah. Anyway, you were saying prior to David Lee jumping in, you were asking a question.
Yeah, I have no idea. And that's
you're asking the impression that people had here. Yeah, it's incredible. Yeah, it's incredible. And I think it's a lot of, I think you've probably experienced this in the military too. It's a lot of hurry up and wait,
Mm-hmm.
hurry up and wait, hurry up and wait, and then you get your time and you basically go after it. But that's the thing. That's why we pray, right? Because we're not in
Absolutely.
control. We're not in control. Oh my goodness.
Absolutely.
So what was
Now-
your stream about today?
My stream is about you.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, so we just replayed what happened this morning. We
Okay.
restreamed it, and then I made some closing points at the end of the stream and kind of glued things together. And I said, one of the points I made was, everybody thought we were crazy, Crypto Heartbeat,
Yeah.
rags to riches, just loony and cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. But now that Ophir was launched this morning, and we have 2 communities, people are going to start to see the reality of what can happen here in the next 3 to 5 to 7 years. And it's very, very, very powerful. And I'm not sure if people really get it yet, but they will.
Well, and we're not going to share any of this public insider baseball information, but something that I know that is so unbelievably exciting that when we can actually share it publicly, it's going to blow people's minds.
They
You
won't
agree?
even believe us.
I know. It's that cool. And folks, here's the thing. You guys have been following Brandon at Rags to Riches and Crypto Heartbeat here for going on, at least a year and a half now, if not more. And, we're just trying to, be faithful and chop some wood and remind people that, the entire financial system is changing. And what I love about DeFi and this decentralization and this power essentially back to the people is that we together through agreement can unlock value and abundance. And when you think of this, I think if you were to talk to just regular folks, Hexicans, Texicans, all of these people and say, hey, do you think that we should do something about poverty in the world? Do you think we should give people additional opportunities? Do you think we should provide hope? Do you think we should do something related, better education, all of those things? I think you get a resounding yes from regular people.
Mm-hmm.
And so I don't think we've had a chance or a means by which we could affect change so much as it is with literally the core foundation of money in the world. What are your thoughts of how important DeFi is to everything from Texas independence to eradicating poverty globally?
Yeah, so you think about here's an interesting example, and it's kind of off the cuff here, but let's take pot legalization in Virginia, for example.
Yeah. Let's do it.
They don't want every business owner to be able to have access to the marijuana business in Virginia. So what do? They create a first layer, a first wall. You got to pay $10,000 to be considered. And then after the $10,000 to even be considered, now you have to pay $60,000 just to get your license. And then you have to pay $30,000 every year to keep this thing up and running. So what does that do? That keeps people out.
Yeah.
Right. That's a filter to keep people out. And the thing that I love about this is there are no filters. The only filter that you have is internet access. Yep. And you can get that anywhere now. So I love cryptocurrency in that it is decreasing the friction of money and increasing the velocity of money, also increasing the amount of connectivity that a community can have together. And if they have the same ideals, they can pool not only their intellectual capital together, but also their financial energy. And I think that's important all across the world. That really pushes back.
Oh yeah. Dude, it's a miracle in my opinion that we have this tool that we can, leverage for the betterment of people. And do you think that with what's happening in the world, with everything going crazy and upside down, do you think people are waking up to the fact that they need to do something? Like they need to step up, they need to push back?
Yeah.
Do you think it's time? I know we know that, but do you think people are catching on?
A bigger swath of the population is catching up. There will always be, Matt, unfortunately, probably 20% of the population that never will until it guns to their head.
Yeah.
And that's the unfortunate part. But the rest of the people are waking up to this. And just like pendulums swing, and then you see this craziness, it's going to swing back the other way. And mind you, Matt, here's something important too. There are extremes on both sides. right? And it's important to keep level when these pendulums do swing. So I think that that's kind of what we represent here, Matt, because our whole thing, our whole mission statement is unlocking generosity from a global standpoint.
Yep.
And whatever we can do to reach that goal, we will do. And in that way, I'm not going to say the ends justify the means, but we will work tirelessly to achieve that goal.
Yep, absolutely. Well, and I think it requires people, one of the things when I first came and I read the book TEXIT, and I got to meet Daniel Miller and I got to hear this, they are a civic organization and they are keeping things, in my opinion, pretty pure, right? There's a lot of people on the fringes who are interesting folks in this movement. But I think what I like about it is a discipline to say, hey, we're going to do this the right way. We're going to do this, according to the rules.
Mm-hmm.
But also, I remember talking to Daniel in the early days and saying, I have these things I care about. Like I care about, the family, or I care about, freedom of worship or whatever it may be. And you have to recognize that there's a future that people have to see for themselves. And you've got to make the assumption that not everybody sees these things the way you do, right? We're not creating utopia. What we're doing is we're decentralizing the power so that people can make their own choices and their own decisions. And I think it's very common that people want to, twist the dials of social engineering. And they want to, well, put me in power and I'll be able to make it better. And I think what the implications of an independent Texas are is that if this can be done right, we're going to learn the lessons from the Scottish referendum, that it's not something that's taken over by just one political party, that people actually have a seat at the table. And I think when good, honest people who aren't making a career out of politics come to the table and say, you know what do we care about? What should we be committed to? Where have we come from? What should we protect? That's why I use the term rebooting the system, because it's not that, this idea of America is an idea, and it's a beautiful idea of decentralization. It's like, no, we need to restart the machine because it's running awfully slow, because it's been gummed up by all this regulation, by all of these folks who literally don't have our best interests in mind. And it's evident everywhere we go.
Sure. You look at just the tenets of what the T&M believes, and they believe in entrepreneurialism. And what does the other side believe in? They believe in centralized government and redistribution. And then, you look at what we believe in and the T&M believes in. They believe in family, that the family is the basic cultural building block. And then you look at the disintegration of the family, and not only the disintegration, but the encouragement of the disintegration of family in our society today. And, you look at the source of political power. Matt, one thing that I always say is if you had a genie and you had two politicians, one from the left side and one from the right side, and the genie says, you get anything politically that you want right now to both of these people. Now, you might think it could be different, but here's what I think, depending on the person. I think that a lot of times the left side, they don't believe in people's ability to make decisions for themselves. And they don't believe that power should be solely in the hands of people because they think that they can rule better and they can make decisions better. I think that the right side would be push back against that a little bit. But if they had their wishes, I think the world would be separate. It would be two completely different things. And I don't like that other side, and I don't like going towards that other side. I don't like it a little bit, and I certainly don't like it a lot. So let's do something to find a way to not go that direction.
Yeah. Well, and I think that you have to work from the right premise.
Yeah.
And if you think about, what is the premise you're working from, is that are all people created equally.
Mm-hmm.
And I think we have to get back to remembering the basics, that we do not get our rights from the state, right? The governor doesn't give us the rights. They don't dole out rights from, Washington. And I think when you get back to those founding documents and you understand this type of movement, and you have to consider it when you find yourself saying, hey, I want to support Texas being independent, being it's a separate sovereign nation, once again, a republic of Texas. You have to, take the gravity that comes with that. And you have to take that and say, hold on a second, this is representative of the people and everyone needs to have a seat at the table. But that's the thing that I think is the richness of all of this, is it's not that people would conform to be like us, right? Or to think like I do, but the fact that we'd be able to say, oh, and these things have gotten out of control. These things have gotten too gangly. They're overgrown. And you think about this. If I said to you, "Hey, what would things look like if we didn't have a central bank? What would it look like if we didn't have an IRS?
Mm-hmm.
What would we do?" And people are like, "I have no idea. That would be unbelievable." What would it look like? And you can insert whatever your hot topic is. But I think one of the things about independence in it is such a romantic idea in the sense that, hold on, you mean we could have options? Do you mean we wouldn't have to have a lodestone around our neck? And that kind of future, when I think people see it, I've often thought, where do good people go? When you see what's happening in our society today, is there a place where good people can go? And you can get into a very spiritual conversation about, is there this promised land? Is there a place in which people can have the ability and the freedom to make their own decisions? My dad, God rest his soul, was so concerned about the government telling him how much water he needed to put in his toilet, right? Or what light bulbs he should use, and all the regulatory stuff that just gotten out of hand. And of course, Reagan was really good at saying that, there's so many things that our friends across the aisle, think they know that aren't true. And he's, making this really, really good point that, we have to understand the fundamentals, right? We need to understand and agree upon the fact that, hold on, human life is valuable, right? And that we want you to have an opportunity, and to have a seat at the table. So to me, it's not equal outcomes, it's equal opportunity.
Yeah. Equal outcomes is centralization. Equal opportunity is liberty.
Yep.
And that's just the bottom line. And people get frustrated. They say, well, how come I can't have an equal outcome? And it's because we are equal under God, or we're equal under natural law, but we're not necessarily equal in terms of, maybe our intelligence when we were born, our athletic ability when we were born, and we can take these God-given gifts and we can go and apply them, and we can do better than the person, our best friend. And it's because you were given these things. So it's once you start going down the slippery slope of trying to level the playing field, really, really bad things happen. Really, really bad feelings enter the picture. And what people want is just to be able to provide for their family in a straightforward way, a honest way. And they just want their children to be happy. They want to be happy. And for the most part, Matt, they just want to be left alone. What is so hard about that?
What's so great about that conceptually is the beginning of Bitcoin, right? And even if you go back to the 1990s, and you see Tim May's crypto anarchy, people don't realize the origins of cryptocurrency is really from this libertarian idea, like, leave me alone. Like, we should have our own ability to have our own value. And then you see the Satoshi white paper, which is basically in response to Too Big to Fail, right? The 2008 crisis is saying, hold on, no, we need to push back on this. We need to have a way to do it. But to see technology come together, and then this beautiful thing of truly decentralized, a distributed ledger out on the blockchain that says everything is transparent. The folks that want to control things are constantly wanting to, create, gates and the things that they would protect. And, that's what I think is so liberating, is this idea that, hold on, we can define our own value, and it's completely transparent, and it takes the tools away from centralized planners, and is censorship resistant. And you mentioned in the call earlier today with John about this idea that it's permissionless. Will you talk about permissionlessness and why that's so big of a deal?
Yeah. So you don't have to get the checkbox from some centralized entity to say that you can go build on the blockchain. Anybody from anywhere can show up. They can teach themselves the basics and the foundations, and they can just go and do it. And this is blockchain in a nutshell. This is what's beautiful about it. You can go develop. It is unclaimed land, and nobody can stop you. So that's what's beautiful about this. Now, when you kind of tie this back to the power of the individual, what you see, you got two sides here. Let's just say we rewind. We go back to capitalism 150 years ago, when I think that the moral standards were a little bit higher, right? So you go back then. Now, what happens here when you allow the individual to go and, for an incentive, not only take care of himself or herself, take that excess that they create and then be able to have an incentive to go sell it on the open market and create some sort of profit. That's really, really cool, Matt. Now, what's the flip side of that? When you have centralized planning that says you're only allowed to make this much, what happens in somebody's head when they know they're only allowed to make this much? They hoard things. They become greedy. They realize if they can't make any more, then they need to hold on to this.
Yep.
That's when you look at capitalism versus more of like a centralized socialistic planning situation here. Capitalism always wins because it unlocks individual creativity and it unlocks incentive, which is the most powerful driving force of anything that man has created from a governmental standpoint, in my opinion.
Yeah.
These things ebb and flow, morality wanes, and then centralization steps back in, but it always comes back. So it comes back to what's good, and I think that we need to get back to that, and we are with crypto.
Sorry about that. I'm trying to recruit the doctor in, the fine doctor.
Yeah, man.
Dude, no, it's, permissionless. You don't have to ask permission. It feels like you're an animal that's been in captivity, and they're like, no, we're going to set you free. And you're like, well, I don't know that what would I do? How do I don't know how to act. And I think a lot of people don't realize that. I think Texas independence, I think this movement, I think the efforts of the volunteers and the people that are supporting Texas independence are giving permission to others. What do you think about, what this does for other states? Let's say we see the referendum happening. Do you think that this gives permission to others to go, hold on a second, if they can do it, we can do it too? Oh, you're on. Yeah, your mic.
Test.
There you go.
Yeah. So that's a good question. So it's always most difficult to get a movement started because you need the first person to start it.
Yep.
Now, the first person is important, right? Obviously, because that gets things going. But actually, the most important person after that is the second person, because that shows everybody else who's watching that somebody else is on board. After that second person comes, that's when things start moving. So we need Texas to step up to the plate and help the rest of the states find their testicles, I think, in my opinion.
That's a good way of putting it.
Yeah.
What's amazing is, what you just described is exactly what's happening right now, right? So exciting that the first person stepped out and said, all right, we're going to file the bill.
Right.
And then there's people coming on as co-authors of the bill, having people in the Senate sponsor as well, and that's the thing. That's why we need people who are going to do their part, meaning call your representative, tell them that you support Texas independence and the right of the people of Texas to have a vote and to have a voice. It really does make a difference. And I think a lot of people, sometimes can easily get distracted with things and say, well, I don't need to call. Somebody else is going to call, and nobody else is going to call unless you do, and I think it's so big, but this works on all levels, right? The permission of the people in the Philippines to say, what, hold on, you can declare your own value. Yes, you can. Yeah. Oh my goodness. And that's the thing I'm so excited about is this gets to catch on. And of course, the big news that we hope to be sharing in the next couple weeks is that a really, really large organization might be interested in tokenizing as well.
I don't even know what to say, man. It's crazy.
I know.
Crazy.
It is nuts.
I hope we, here's the thing, and here's the thing, folks, like we want to be able to tell you, but we also don't want to shoot ourselves in the foot. So let's just see what happens. And if it's something that's worth sharing, we'll share it with you. If not, we won't. So we're not going to promise something we can't deliver there.
Yep. No, that's it. We're just excited.
Matt, what you could do, I have to run here in a second.
Yeah.
But what you could do is you could stop this stream. And when he comes in, you could have your own separate stream and description and all that for him.
Yeah,
I think that's
actually probably a good idea. And that would be contained within its own.
Yep.
Brandon, thanks for joining here. This is exciting, live from the Capitol. And just as actually, I'll do the wrap up here. Thanks for joining, Brandon. I appreciate you a lot.
Yeah, man. Take it easy now.
All right. See ya.
Bye-bye.
All right, folks. What a day we've had. It started out with Daniel Miller announcing that a bill has been filed and sponsored. And that bill is bill number 3596. Let me make sure I got this right. I got to make sure I got the number right. Yes, 3596 is what I believe the bill number is, and that's a big deal, right? They've been working, and as Daphne had mentioned during our time together, she had said, this is very different than it was the last time. They had to work even harder to find someone to step out, because the person who leads in this is going to be the person who is essentially responsible for essentially talking about it and supporting it. And so people are sticking their neck out, and we have to respect that. But we need to come alongside them. We have to do our part, because that's probably one of the hardest decisions to make, is to say, hey, when you sign on this as the sponsor, you are the person who is going to be basically the epicenter of all of the conversation, and everybody's going to want to talk to you. And this is something that will become national or international news at some point in time. But just for folks who are joining or haven't heard the announcement, we came into this legislative day here in the state capitol and got the good news from Daniel that the bill has been filed. So now getting co-sponsors and folks over in the Senate to sponsor as well. That's the plan. But this is, nothing can happen unless we have this happen. And so really, really, really great news. Obviously, so this morning, if you didn't catch it, we announced Ophir, the launch of Ophir in the Philippines. John, the founder of the Ophir crypto token, was on stream this morning. That's on my channel under the live tab, so you can take a look at that. But a big day, a really, really, really big day. So I appreciate everyone who supported us and been a part of this whole process. And we will, if I get a chance to get with the fine doctor, I will set up a new stream. But take care of yourself, folks. Thanks for participating. Thanks for supporting all of these things. We are making a difference by pushing back on authoritarianism, on globalism, on all these folks, and giving regular people, an opportunity. So take care of yourself, and do not mess with Texas.